Well, hello and welcome to Newscentre. I am Ashmit Kumar. 72 hours after 45 bureaucratic positions were opened up to non-UPSC applicants, the decision has now been withdrawn. The government has asked the Union Public Service Commission to cancel the lateral entry recruitment advertisement that it had issued on the 17th of August. Union Minister of State Jyothsna Singh, in a letter to the UPSC chief, highlighted that Prime Minister is of the firm belief that process of lateral entry must be aligned with the principles of equity and social justice as enshrined in the Indian Constitution. This letter also highlighted that there was a need to review and reform the no reservation provision when it comes to lateral hiring. The decision to review comes after two key allies from Bihar, the Janata Dal United and Lok Janshakti Party, had opposed the UPSC's move. The Congress had called the move an attempt to snatch reservation from backward classes.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने बाबा साहेब अम्बेडकर के संविधान के प्रति प्रतिबद्धता को एक बार फिर बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय के साथ बताया है, दिखाया है। यूपीएससी में लैटरल एंट्री एक बहुत ही ट्रांसपेरेंट मेथड जो लिया था, उसमें रिजर्वेशन के प्रिंसिपल्स लगे, ऐसा निर्णय लिया है। 2014 से पहले किस तरह से यूपीए की सरकार कांग्रेस के जो निर्णय होते थे उनमें रिजर्वेशन के प्रिंसिपल्स का कोई ध्यान नहीं रखा जाता था
कि अगर इतिहास में हुआ है इसीलिए हमारी सरकार भी इसको इसी तरीके से लागू कर दे, ये उचित नहीं है। और कहीं ना कहीं एक गलत परसेप्शन सरकार का ऐसी नियुक्तियों के बाद समाज के बीच जाएगा। मुझे खुशी है और ये मेरे विश्वास को पुनः बल देता है कि मेरे प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने समाज के एक बड़े वर्ग, अनुसूचित जाति, जनजाति, पिछड़ा वर्ग से आने वाले लोगों की चिंताओं को समझा।
Not one, not two. I can understand one or two advisors being recruited, one person here, one person there, but 45 at one go. And these are not advisory positions. These are joint secretaries, directors, deputy secretaries, secretariat positions, for which provisions of the Constitution of India apply. So this was the first step. This was the opening of the door to the ending of reservations. This was to introduce an Agnivir in civilian bureaucracy.
Well, an issue that is proving to be polarizing, especially as far as political sentiments are concerned. For more on this, we're joined by Mahima Singh, national spokesperson of the Congress Party. Also with us, Jyothsna Tirunagari, the national spokesperson of the Telugu Desam Party. Thank you so much for joining us. Ms. Tirunagari, let me come to you first, and I'll just cite that letter that has been written to the UPSC chair. It says it's important that constitutional mandate towards social justice is upheld so that deserving candidates from marginalized communities get their rightful representation. The short question is, does this letter and does this concession coming in from the government validate the concerns that had been raised by the opposition parties? Mr. Nagari, if you can hear me.
Yeah. Okay. I thought the question was for Mahima ji. I'm sorry about that. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, Mr. Nagari, the same question to you, that does this withdrawal of the 45 non-UPSC applicants, the jobs that were put out, the advertisement that was put out, does this validate the concerns raised by Rahul Gandhi, by Mallikarjun Kharge, by Jairam Ramesh, by the opposition leaders?
Ashmit ji, I'll tell you one thing here. Firstly, when we go into the details of it, let me tell you the details of it. Is this new? Lateral entry into bureaucracy, is it a new concept, Ashmit ji? I don't think it's a new concept. It has happened earlier also. I think even including in the UPA government, it has happened, isn't it? What we just tried to do was to formalize and make make it more transparent, which was earlier, which was done in a very ad hoc manner. We wanted to make it more transparent and formalize it. That was the only intent. We do not have an intent of probably as somebody is quoting, I don't want to quote the party, I don't want to quote the leader, I don't want to, probably take their names, but they are trying to, just do that mudslinging, saying that we are against reservations, we are against a particular community. No, we are not. Absolutely not. What we are trying to say is, what you have done earlier in an ad hoc manner, we are trying to formalize and make it more transparent. That's it. That's what we have tried to do. And when there were, it's not about, the concept of reservation or nothing. We just try to do a thing that was done by you in an ad hoc manner, make it more.
But let me then ask.
Simple, Ashmit.
You're talking, of course, about the more substance. Of course, that is another issue. We'll dive into that. We'll seek the response from the Congress as well, as far as the genesis of this entire issue is concerned. My question to you, however, is the mere politics of it and how it is being perceived in the public domain. That's my question to you. And for this, let me also use the reference of K.C. Tyagi of the JDU. He very clearly warned the BJP that let's not do this. This will give a golden opportunity to Rahul Gandhi to appear as the champion of the marginalized. In the issue of public perception, has this battle been lost to the opposition parties?
See, why don't we take it in the other way? Why don't we take it in the other way around? Why don't we consider it that when there is a constructive criticism, the government is taking it? Why don't we take it that way? I think we have to take it that way. When there is, see, you should accept the adaptiveness of this particular government, NDA government, which says that, yes, if you have concerns, we are here to listen to it. If you have concerns, we are here to modify any sort of a statements or decisions that are being taken by the government. Government is for all. It's not for BJP or it's not for TDP or it's not for NDA alone. Government is for all.
Sure.
And here it's not about a particular community. Again, I'll come back to that point. Nobody can become champion of any particular thing, I'll tell you, Ashmit. It's clear that they just try to use it politically. Here we are.
Sure. Let me take that across. Let me take.
We said we are open for discussion. We said if you think it would, probably do bad to certain sectors of people, we are here to amend it. We are government. We are for all. We are for all Indians.
Sure. Let me take that across to Ms. Singh. Ms. Singh, do you buy that? That's the rationale coming in from the leadership, that we're open to constructive criticism, that we're all ears, especially when it comes to doing social justice, when it comes to equity. How would you respond to that assertion, that letter that came from Jitendra Singh?
Jai Hind. Ashmit, I would strongly oppose all that has been said by the now stronger ally of the BJP that had once left the BJP because it had taken a U-turn, true to its character at that point in time, to its old promises made to the TDP. I'm also not shocked today that there's no representative of the ruling party, the BJP, on your show, because they have put themselves in a very strange position today with nearly 3 months, the first quarter of its governance in its the self-boasted third term, and 3 U-turns already being taken. That happens. That happens when there is a formidable opposition. Than you had wanted them to be. And also when you have a fractured mandate, when the Prime Minister is a one-third Prime Minister proclaiming himself to be a non-biological supreme power, the BJP and the RSS have always desired to change the constitution to end the reservation, and that is not a fact which is not known to all. The whole world knows their animosity with the provision of reservations. Today, the BJP is trying to pose, even especially the Prime Minister is trying to pose as if he is the champion of reservation, he is the champion of the constitution in its present form, which is absolutely not the case. In the last 10 years, we never saw him even anywhere close to the Constitution of India, neither in his approach, whether when it was when he was inaugurating or doing the Bhumi Pujan for Central Vista, or on plenty of other occasions, nor in his approach, neither in his approach nor in his in his actions otherwise. So what we have seen today is indeed because Mr. Kharge, Mr. Rahul Gandhi had spoken for the constitution, for the social justice, for equality of the marginalized, against whom the crimes mind
Sure,
you,
Ms. Singh.
have gone up by nearly 40% over the past 10 years. And hence, today when the BJP and its allies come forward and say that, look, we are basically doing this because we have social justice in mind. No, it is not because of that. It is because the opposition is out
Right.
there.
Right, Ms. Singh.
We've already always been there, but we are stronger than before.
You
And
made
we
your
will
point, Ms.
not
Singh.
let
Let me
them
just come in with a
sabotage the
supplementary
spirit of
question.
Constitution.
Right, Ms. Singh. Let me come in with a supplementary question. I'll take a few names now. Manmohan Singh, Raghuram Rajan, Sam Pitroda, Bimal Jalan, Kaushik Basu, Nandan Nilekani. These are names which came to light, which suggest the one common link between them has been that they too were lateral hires. These are some of the names that have been put out by the BJP saying that, look, it's not us. The UPA has been doing it for far longer than we have. How would you address that question, that this is something, a practice that was seen from the pre-NDA days?
I'm grateful, Ashmit, that you had played that very relevant clip by Mr. Jairam Ramesh, the ANI clip you had just played while putting forward the story for this show, wherein he strongly has questioned the bulk of positions that were opened. All the names that you have taken, we understand, and we have already admitted to it that, you see, opening one or two advisory positions here and there is a different matter altogether. These are key secretariat positions, 45 of them at one go, ignoring the provision of social justice provided by the Constitution of India. Absolutely. That is exactly what the opposition, Mr. Kharge, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, were vehemently opposing. And I think that it was only rightful for us to do so, because otherwise this would have set a very wrong precedent for the times to come. And in fact, you would remember that when Veerappa Moily Commission was set up in 2005, Ashmit, you would very clearly remember that the UPA had not heeded to its recommendation for lateral entries in this manner. In fact, it came up again in 2010, and the UPA was still contemplating it because there were very considerable loopholes in the report, in the recommendations made at that point in time, and they needed much more research and due diligence into it. And come 2014, the NDA
I'll just interject there and let me get Dr. Tirunagari back in on this conversation. Let me get Dr. Tirunagari back on this conversation. Dr. Tirunagari, the question I want to ask you is the fact that there is a need felt for greater social equity and representation is now even admitted as a part of that letter. The question of what I want to ask you is that, is there perhaps a lack of communication within the alliance? The reason I ask that, the LJP is strictly against it. The JDU, another major ally, is strictly against it. That's, of course, one side of the story. The other side is that as of late last evening, I personally was also in conversation with a senior government leader who was batting in favor of this lateral hiring advertisement that was put out. Hours later, we find that there's been a U-turn by the administration. Is there perhaps a need for better communication between the stakeholders within the NDA?
Ashmit, you call it better communication. I call it better democratical values there, isn't it? Because I'll tell you why here. Today, we are saying that some of the allies voiced out. What's wrong in voicing out, Ashmit? They are partners. They are partners in the government. And definitely when there is a discussion going on, they have every right to voice out what's their point of concern. And when, today the government taking a decision to review the lateral entry process, truly doesn't it underscore the government's commitment to social justice and also, listening to the concerns of its allies and partners and also the opposition parties? I'll put it very clearly here. Isn't it what the constitutional values that we are talking about? They are holding a book in their hand saying that we are with Constitution. We are with Constitution. And isn't it the government today truly following the constitutional values, Ashmit? First thing. Second thing, I'll come back to what the Congress spokesperson spoke about. Yes, the UPA government has done it earlier. My question today to them is, my point of concern again is the timing of their criticism. I'll tell you why I'm talking about the timing. Because to me, it seems to be a very, very politically motivated timing rather than genuinely concerned with social justice. If they were truly and genuinely concerned with the social justice, and if they truly believed in those principles,
I'm glad you bring that up.
They would have pushed for those changes.
Dr. Tirunagari, I'm glad you bring that up.
During their tenure. I'm sorry, they didn't do it.
I'm glad you bring that up. The question of bona fides of the concern being raised. The question of bona fides of concerns being raised across political spectrum with respect to the marginalized community. I'm glad you bring that up because we're running out of time, but I'll save this question as the last one to both our panelists. Dr. Tirunagari, to you first. This entire conversation about constitutional norms, about equities, about social justice, about reservation, does this perhaps strengthen the opposition's argument on the much wider and the larger issue of the caste census that they have been seeking? Dr. Tirunagari.
See, I'll tell you one thing. We are not talking about a particular caste, or we are not talking about a particular thing. But my point is, why did the point of reservation come up, Ashmit? It came out because there was some problem with the equity concept that you're talking about. Now, according to the time and again, according to the situations, we are changing it, and it's not about the change in the constitution, because they always target us saying that we are asking for changes in the constitution. No, we are asking about the situation of different sectors, not just one particular sector or this sector or that sector. First thing. Second thing, for the question that you asked, Ashmit, I am telling that it's not about caste census. We never said we are against caste census, what we think is we have to do something called skill census, Ashmit. I think I am clear there. Especially with Telugu Desam Party, we have always been saying that skill census is something that we have to do in the present day, scenario. That's far more important. And again, we are not against caste census, or we are not against anything. We are not against that. But why are you making it just a political point there? Even in this case, they are politically,
Sure. Let me take that across.
Is politically motivated. That's it. That's the entire point.
Right, Dr. Tirunagari. So it's caste census versus skill census as far as your views are concerned. Let me take that across to Ms. Singh. Ms. Singh, final comments. This entire conversation that we have seen, even now, a letter, a concession coming in from Mr. Jitendra Singh regarding social justice, regarding equity. Does it strengthen Rahul Gandhi's position when he next bats for a caste census?
I understand the plight and dilemma of the TDP spokesperson very much, as would your viewers, because we know the BJP's and TDP's difference of opinion about the 4% Muslim reservation that the TDP has guaranteed in Andhra. But leaving that aside, since you're talking about the position and the image, let me, because today Mr. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, is being, proclaimed as the champion of social justice and equity, let me quickly refer to this very relevant tweet by Mr. Ram Ramesh, and people must view that, where this old clip from 2010 has been posted, where Narendra Modi ne Daliton ko bataya mandbuddhi. That news is there when Rajya Sabha was adjourned on this issue because the Congress and its members wanted a debate on that. So the BJP, the RSS and its allies keep on shifting their positions on these very critical issues, but the Congress's resolve has been very strong ever since the pre-independence era, and that is for the rights of the marginalized, of the downtrodden. And that is what Mahatma Gandhi's dream was for this nation, that the last in line should stand equal to the first in line in terms of rights and provisions.
Right, Ms. Singh. With that, we're completely out of time. Ms. Singh, Dr. Tirunagari, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your perspective on this hot potato of a political issue, the government withdrawing the advertisements for non-UPSC candidates, putting a pause button as far as that lateral hiring issue is concerned, saying that there is need for greater relook, reform before proceeding with that lateral hiring. With that, it's time now for heading into a very short break. But up next, the government's lateral hiring scheme has sparked a debate on specialization versus generalization. What do civil service aspirants feel about the issue? A special ground report from Delhi's Rajendra Nagar up next.